Unfortunately, many of us will be facing, or we are facing, court cases in Spain. In this video, I'm going to explain to you in a simple way how a court case works in Spain. Let me explain to you how it works in Spain. We're going to talk today about litigation. And you need to bear in mind that in this video, I'm going to explain to you a civil case, ordinary civil case, over 6,000 euros claim, or depending on the type of field that is considered to be like a major claim, or juicio ordinario, what is called in Spain, which is a major civil case, okay? Now, follow the steps so you could understand. Number one, we will need a plaintiff. Number two, we will need a defendant or defendants, right? Won't get it too complex now. I will start with the plaintiff and defendant. You all need to grant power of attorney to your lawyer and to the court runner. And you will need to start lodging the letter through the court as a plaintiff. And you'll have to choose, your lawyer will choose, depending on the jurisdiction, which one is applicable in Spain. Once you lodge the claim, plaintiff lodged the claim, and then defendant needs to receive the letter. It seems very easy, but depending where you are, you need to find the right place where it could be served, and they need to acknowledge safe receipt. If they don't acknowledge safe receipt, the judge eventually will order to find out the address in Spain, and they could publish on board in the court board that claim will follow through. It's being officially notified to the address of the defendant, and the court case will carry on. Now, we've got a plaintiff who has sent the claim. The defendant did receive the claim or ignore the claim. So you'll have first procedural action, second procedural action, okay? Plaintiff and defendant. Now, the defendant will have 20 working days to reply to all the claims and allegations that the plaintiff made on the petition in Spain. Once they've done it, they will lodge their reply through the courts. So you've got the claim, the reply, and you could even counterclaim, which means that you can, on the same letter, claim against the plaintiff, okay? Then we'll have to repeat the same process. Again, if you just answer, that's fine. The judge will mention a date for a pre-trial hearing where all the solicitors will propose the evidence that we will take into consideration, and the judge will have to accept it. The judge will incentivize to generate and create an agreement and make an agreement between the two parties here, okay? Now, if that's not possible, then the solicitors will present through the courts all the evidence to be taken into account, will identify and itemize the conflict between the parties, and after that, this will be a day that needs to be written down in the calendar. The parties needs to be represented by solicitors, lawyers, attorneys at law, and court runners. The clients do not have to be present. They could be present to see the hearing, pre-trial hearing, what is called. After that, and if everything goes according to law, because of exceptions that the lawyers could make, etc., etc., you will be affixed a day for a hearing. And so this, we will say, the pre-trial hearing, and this is a main hearing, okay? Hearing. On the hearing, this is a big day because all the witnesses that you did propose, all the evidence to be taken into account, like surveyors, and every cross-examination will take place here. If you are from a foreign country, you will need translators there to be provided by yourself. Each party should provide their own translator. Okay? Then, after the hearing, and obviously depending on the workload, the judge will hold the resolution. And that was what we'll call sentence. Right? Right. We've got the sentence, and now the sentence could either say, I accept the claim, I do not accept the claim and reject. And here, if the defendant did make a counterclaim, exactly the same. With regards to legal cost, the judge in the sentence will order who needs to pay what and who pays the legal fees according to the law society of the place where is the jurisdiction. If you're in Alicante, it will be the Alicante jurisdiction. If you are in Madrid, it will be Madrid jurisdiction, okay? And law society. Now, let's say you already have a sentence, and this kind of case, the average that from our experience we're having, it could even take an average now of a year, okay? Roughly, okay? Depending on the workload of every single court. Once you've got a sentence, this sentence, you will have any of these people, the plaintiff or the defendant, will have the possibility to appeal that, and they have another 20 working days to appeal. Both parties could appeal, okay? The letter will be sent from one to the other with the allegations, and then the judge from the first court, which is the main jurisdiction, let's say here, the main court, will pass it on to the high court. So if we are in Alicante, for example, Alicante courts, and it will go to review this sentence, it will go to the High Court of Alicante, okay, where another tribunal will review the whole case. Normally, in this tribunal, it will not be necessary, there are exceptions obviously, to have another hearing. So they will just review the whole case without clients being present and probably without the solicitors being present at all. So it will be probably a exchange of letters. Exceptionally, whatever the High Court stated, saying, I confirm the first resolution from the main court, or I revoke that sentence and order a new one, okay? So this High Court, let's put it this way, High Court will review, has the power to review the whole case. Now, what happened if after this one, you will have another sentence you will have the option here in different cases, not all of them, because there is a specific requirements that you need to qualify to even being reviewed by the High Court in Madrid, which is the High Tribunal for reviewing all the sentence. It's very hard to go to the High Court in Madrid, and I will give a very little possibilities to review, but depending on the requirements, whether you comply or you don't comply. Okay, now I'm going to explain to you how it works enforcing that sentence once it's solid. Okay, just follow me now. Right, so we already had a sentence, and now what do we do? Right, your lawyer will, if let's say the defendant had to pay and they didn't pay within the 20 working days. Your lawyer will start a new enforcing claim telling the court that they didn't comply with the court resolution, and therefore will request the court to enforce it, and the plaintiff will request, in this case, to freeze all the assets the defendant had because he didn't pay, as the judge stated. So what do we have here? An enforcement. This is a second phase and a second claim the lawyer will start. So he serves the letter through the courts. The defendant will get it straight away through their representative, and they could either contest it if there is something wrong, or they could ignore it and let the court carry on. If they contest it, they could initiate an opposition of that enforcing claim. So they could say no, and the reasons why. Later on might be a hearing, or normally there are not hearings on this case of typical cases, and there is a final resolution. But that's only if the defendant contests again the enforcing claim. If they don't, the court here automatically will freeze the assets. So this pretty much is looking for assets and freezing the assets. If we're talking about bank accounts, the money will be frozen. If we're talking about property, the charge will be placed in the property and eventually will be valued and will be auctioned. And therefore the plaintiff could take that property if the quantities click with the claim and if the plaintiff meets the requirement on bidding or on different structures of the procedural law. But here you will only have the option to say no, or the court will carry on. If we don't find assets, your lawyer will carry on looking for it, and anytime they have assets, the court will place a charge. So this is quite important because sometimes you don't have assets today, but tomorrow you're going to have assets, and the action, as long as you are in the process, will not expire certain. So this is important you to bear in mind that according to Article 1911 of Civil Code, you will be responsible for the damage you created unless you pay. Now, this is very generic, and this is in simple terms how enforcing a sentence works in Spain. In the different videos, we could explain about different fields, and I hope you could understand a little bit better how a court case works in Spain. Thank you very much, and see you on our next video.